So, in this video, we're going to just talk about the anatomy of a neuron, the big parts. You often hear words like soma, dendrites, axons, terminal buttons, myelin sheath. We're going to go over each of those and some basics of their function, what they do for the neuron, and why you need to know about them. For this video, I assume you're some sort of student and you're watching for some educational purposes. If you're not, disregard what I'm about to say, but I would recommend pulling out a sheet of paper or your notebook or a piece of paper towel or napkin if you're desperate, and kind of following along with me. I'm going to draw a lot of pictures to try and go slowly. I'm going to use two colors, black and red. Black for most of everything and red for sort of emphasis and circling. You really just need one color, but you can sort of follow along, and when you're done with the video, you're not like, oh wait, what just happened? You'll have the same diagram in your own handwriting, in your notebook, and it can be a great way to learn. So anyways, disregard all that if you don't care, but it's my recommendation. Alright, so we're going to just start off drawing a neuron. If you don't have your paper ready, you can pause the video. Otherwise, let's keep going. So I'm going to draw the cell body first. There's this long tail, which is the axon. If your picture doesn't look amazing, don't worry, neither does mine. And we're just going to draw these little end protrusions here and these little button stumps at the very end. And just a couple more things. We're going to draw a circle, fill it in, and then draw some. This doesn't have to be super important. We need some little whiskers coming off the end here. And I have to do them on each one or else it's going to bug me. Okay, so here we have our neuron. Hopefully you kind of got a sense of that already. So I'm going to go over the most important features first. I think out of everything of a neuron, if I had to choose what's the thing people most hear, I think it has to be the axon. So this portion, this tail of this neuron, is called an axon. AXON. And its purpose is to send information. So I'm going to bust out the red, draw this little arrow, and we're going to say sending. Sending info, how about? So the purpose of the axon is to send information to other neurons. So this whole guy, he is a neuron, which is the cell of a nervous system. You have skin cells for your skin, you have stomach cells in your stomach, liver cells in your liver. These are brain cells in your brain, and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system, that's your nerves. And those cells are called neurons. Alright, so after the axon, the next part is the soma, which soma is kind of a cool word. It means body in Greek, I think, and it's just, all it is the cell body. Cell body. And it's this, I'm going to circle this in red real quick and then remove it. This is the soma, this whole guy here, if you're unclear. And it contains the nucleus, which is where your DNA is, and the DNA, it's like the information to make proteins, and proteins make up the cell. They make up basically everything. So the nucleus is the information to make everything, and the cell is the expression of the genetic information, the DNA that's in that nucleus. So it's good to know what the nucleus is, where it is. It'll be this black spot here in the soma or cell body of our neuron that we have here. Next, probably the third super common thing you'll hear are these whiskers that we drew. I'll circle, a couple of them, but they apply to all these little whiskers we drew, and they are the dendrites. dendrites receive information. If the axon here sends information, the dendrites receive information. So we can write receive info. And so wait, what information are they receiving? Well, what are you talking about? Well, when this axon sends information, it will come down, go through these little guys sticking out at the end, and it'll send a message. And that message has to go somewhere. Where does it go? Well, it goes onto the dendrites. We can maybe draw a couple coming off here as if it's coming off another cell or something, and they go on to the dendrites of the next neuron. So this is how these cells communicate. This is how we have these vast neural networks that let us produce all forms of behavior, is this communication between multiple neurons. So the axon sends the information, it goes out these little tails here, and it goes onto the dendrites. So just to be clear, these are also dendrites, but of the next cell. Now I've been talking about these guys down here, so let's finally give them a name. Probably the most common name you'll hear is terminals, really, but terminal buttons is a big one. I think their maybe more official name is boutons, because they were named by the French, but terminal buttons is probably the most generic name that you'll get. And this is where the messengers that send the message are actually released, that communicate to the next dendrites, the next neuron. Maybe you've heard neurotransmitters, these little chemicals that are stored in these terminal buttons. They send the message, and yeah, they're stored in these terminal buttons. So probably the last thing that we're going to talk about real quick is the myelin sheath. And myelin is this fatty tissue that is wrapped around the axon, and it's similar to the rubber insulation found around electrical wires to protect and speed up the signal. You can think that all this fatty tissue speeds up this message that is sent throughout this axon and makes it more efficient and communicated faster. One little tidbit we can talk about, that in your central nervous system, I'll write up here, these cells are called oligodendroglia. And in the peripheral nervous system, which is outside your brain and spinal cord, so like your nerves, they're called Schwann cells. And Schwann cells, it's one cell per one wrapping of myelin. So this would be one cell, this would be one Schwann cell, this would be one Schwann cell, etc., all the way up. But in the central nervous system, one oligodendroglia can provide multiple wrappings of myelin. And so he has a nucleus. So if you ever see this sort of cell providing myelin, you might be like, ooh, what is that? Because very often textbooks or professors, if they draw a picture of myelin sheath, will draw them similar to this, where there's just these individual guys by themselves. And so if you see this big dude chilling here, you might be like, what is that? Well, it's just an oligodendroglia providing myelin in the central nervous system, which is just in your brain and in your spinal cord. All right. Well, this picture turned out fairly busy, but I hope everything was clear. If not, please leave me a comment and let me know. And thanks for watching.